what is utu, ama pengine tunaona kwa mitandao utu ni nini?
Nawakilisha minority. Na utu mimi kwa upande wangu ni ile wakati unafanyia mtu kitu mzuri, ukimuona unaona huyu mtu kweli nafaa kumfanyia kitu mzuri. Hiyo ndio utu. Lakini usinyanyase mtu.
Mimi ni Secretary Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims Kisii County. Na hapa msikitini vile vile msikiti wetu wa Nubia hapa mimi ni imam na tena ni mwalimu wa madrasa. Kuelewa utu ndio ubinadamu. Kama mtu huna utu, wewe sawa na mnyama. Yaani mnyama ndio hana utu. Mnyama si mtu. Sasa wewe ukitaka kuelewa maana ya utu, muone mnyama jinsi anavyojifanya. Kwa hivyo unapokuwa na utu lazima unaenda kubehave tofauti na wanyama. Wewe ni mtu, wewe ni binadamu, kwa sababu binadamu amepewa akili na mnyama hana akili. Sasa tofauti yani utu ni yule mtu ambao unatumia akili yako ya kujua hili ni jambo sawa, hili jambo sio sawa.
Mimi pia nawakilisha upande mwingine, nawakilisha Albinafa kama chairman. Upande mwingine hiyo ingine nawakilisha pia SUPKEM kama youth leader. Tukiongea juu ya utu vile tumesikia, kimimi najua lazima mimi mwenyewe niwe na utu kwanza ndio nione mwenzangu. Kukuwa na utu unajua ndio lazima uwe na heshima. Ndio mtu atasema huyu jamaa ako na utu.
Ni mwanaharakati wa haki za kibinadamu. Utu ni kinyume cha unyama, ya kwamba umfanyie mwenzako kile ambacho utataka wewe mwenyewe ufanye namna gani ufanyiwe.
Kwa ufahamu wangu wa utu ni kumjali mwenzako. Ndio ukimwona anapitia shida unakuwa hapo na unaingilia maisha yake, unaona venye utamsaidia.
Toka Young Women Christian Association. Kwa mimi utu ni kama kuishi na watu vizuri, kumtendea mwenzako vyema venye hata unaweza taka kutendewa.
I'm a member of the Raise the Village Initiative, and utu ni humanity, si ndio? Humanity ni kujali feelings za mwenzako. Kama nikimfanyia hivi atasikia aje, so unaichukulia kama ni wewe ndio unafanyiwa, alafu you care for her feelings.
From Raise the Village Initiative, vile naelewa utu, kukuwa na utu is kunifanyia venye wewe unaweza taka mimi nikufanyie.
Mimi na work na Young Women Christian Association kama branch manager wa Kisii. So nikisikia jina utu, kwa wale wenye tulisoma hizo enzi kitabu cha Walenisi, safari ya utu, wale ni sisi ni wao. So unatendea mwenzako vile na wewe ungetaka utendewe. Huo ndio utu.
I'm from IPEC. My understanding of utu is being humane.
From Raise the Village Initiative, utu inamaanisha nitendee vile unavyotaka nikutendee.
Natoka Ram Hospital, pia natoka Amshield International. Utu ni human,
mwanaharakati wa haki za kibinadamu. Kwangu najua utu haiwezi kuwa bila jamii. Sasa ningependa kusema kwamba utu ni kutonyanyasana kwa jamii, kujali mwenzako.
The Director, Civic Education and Public Participation, County Government of Kisii. Among all the animals, it is believed that the animal, human being, is the most developed in terms of the intellect, the ability to use the brain, the ability to reason. But there are other animals that are approaching or very close to the human animal, and I insist all of these are animals, including the human being. So it is therefore assumed that having the most developed brain, we are supposed to be the most reasonable. And therefore, when you are reasonable, you are humane. To exactly use the same word to define the word, human being, humane. You are supposed to be humane. That is why you are called a human being.
Natoka katika kitengo cha Civic Education and Public Participation katika gatuzi letu la Kisii. Utu, mtu si mnyama. Mtu aliumbwa kando na wanyama. So utu ni kuwa kinyume cha mnyama.
utende yale ambayo yanakufaa wewe na yanafaa mwenzako. Huo ndio utu kwangu.
Mimi kwangu utu ni ubinadamu, na ubinadamu naamini ya kwamba before religion, yani before dini, sio? Kulikuwa na ubinadamu. Before religion there was humanity. So humanity ni vile unaweza chukulia mtu ama vile unaweza taka mtu akuchukulie. So kwangu ndio utu. Kukaa vile unaweza taka ukaliwe ama kufanya vile unaweza taka ufanyiwe.
I'm a journalist, work for State FM. Kwa kudefine utu, huu wakati kuanzia sasa point A ambayo tuko sasa hivi katika hii dunia hadi point B ambayo sasa tunaenda mwisho wetu. The way we relate with each other, what we do in our daily activities, ndio itaweza kufanya yule mwenzako ambaye ako kwa jirani yako, ambaye pia akona shida tofauti na wewe mwenye uko naye. Je, uko na kile kitu kidogo ambacho unaweza kumpea, ama wewe ni yule mwenye unafanya nini? Unamwacha ateseke. Sasa sisi kama binadamu tunafaa kuwa na utu, kumaanisha kwamba tunafaa tuangalie yale mahitaji ya wenzetu ili tuweze tukawakirimia pia wao waweze kufanya nini? Kufaidika na waweze kuishi kwa furaha kama sisi. So bila kufanya hayo yote, ile aspect ya utu katika maisha yetu haina nini? Haina maana yoyote. Lakini tukiangalia wao kia tuwafike karibu, tuwasaidie, tusiwanyanyase, hiyo inamaanisha kwamba ule utu ambao Mungu aliweza kutupea unafanya nini? Unadhihirika wazi.
Nafanya na shirika la KPC. Kwangu utu ni binadamu. Ni lazima hawa watu wawe na uhusiano mwema. Uhusiano na utu ndio inaleta maafikiano kwa watu wote. Kwa hivyo uhusiano na binadamu na utu ni kama kitu moja kwangu.
Tukizungumzia utu,
station ndi Nyanjwa police station performing in judge gender inadiri na hizo cases za domestic violence, development cases, rape, assault, zote zile zinahusu familia. Ndio mumeona nimejitoa kukuja, hata mimi ni baada tutasuluhisha hii mashida namna gani. Western nilikuwa nasema labda Waluya wanapiga mabibi kwa sababu ya shida, miwa inaongojewa 24 months ndio ikue. Hapa tuko mama kama akaona kavini yati, ataweka mahindi, ataweka sage, ataweka managu, ile vitu ya kuleta pesa haraka. But huko wanategemea miwa. Hapa Kisii sifata ili hata ukiwa na quarter acre, kama we ni mtu hard working, utasikia njaa.
I'm a journalist, I work for Ndizi TV. Utu, it's all about the best for me is the best for my neighbor. So I don't expect the best from my neighbor as I give the worst.
What I can say about Utu is, let's say, it's being mindful of others, or rather being compassionate.
I'm the Chief Officer, Public Participation and Disaster Management, Kisii County Government. Utu, according to me, from a religious perspective, is about living a life that we envisage for ourselves and for others, living as a community and living for the best interest of everybody, living our life today and living for our life for those who have not yet come to this life, for the generations also to come. So for ourselves, those we are living with, and for the generations to come.
Kuna zile itikadi ama values ambazo tulikuwa tumezoea ama tunafanya katika jamii, tuko nazo katika jamii. Wakati mwingine zimepotea ama hata hatuzishughulikii. Kutenga wengine, kuwanyang'anya ama kuwaibia na vitu kama hivyo vinazidi sana kufanyika. Katika eneo letu la Kisii, kwanza tukisema upande wa mambo ya poverty, experience a lot of poverty. Na wakati mwingi wakati tunasema wa Kisii, hatuna umaskini. Pia pengine tunaweza zungumzia another issue ni mambo ya mashamba, ambayo ni key issue. Ni mara ngapi watu wananyang'anywa shamba kwa sababu pengine ujiwezi, wewe ni mjane umeachwa, pengine ndugu wa bwanako wanataka kukufukuza wachukue hiyo shamba. Kesi ya baby Sagini ni kesi ambayo ilitanda na ilikuwa ni mambo ya shamba pia. Unaona, kuna vitu kama hivyo, kuna vitu ambazo ni cultural practices ambazo ziko harmful, ambazo zinafanya tunazidi kurudi nyuma kama jamii. Pengine kwa sababu ya ku-uphold vitu kama FGM na vitu kama vile. Wengine wetu hapa tunafanya kazi ya kuhamasisha jamii kuhusu ukeketaji wa watoto wasichana. Kwa hivyo kuna mambo ambayo sisi kama jamii kitambo tulikuwa tunafanya na kujuliana hali na kusaidiana, lakini kwa sasa unaacha tu kwa sababu mtoto si wako ama jamii si yako, una shughuli naye. Kama ni mtoto amefukuzwa shule ama ukimpata mtoto wako katika mambo za kunywa pombe ama mihadarati, bora si mtoto wako, wewe una shughuli naye. Lakini kitambo tulikuwa tunafuatilia mambo kama hayo. Ukiona mtu ako na njaa, mara ngapi unaenda granary pale, unachukua mahindi ama chakula, unasema pelekea mtu fulani juu amelala njaa. Lakini kwa sasa ni watu wangapi wanaishi njaa? Wako tu pale na watu hawashughuliki. Kuna kesi kwa mfano tuliona huko Nyakoe. Watu wako pale, jamii iko pale, wako na njaa, mpaka wakati iliwekwa kwa Citizen ndio watu walianza kuchangamka tunafaa kufanya hivi na hivi na hivi. Na kwa hiyo jamii kuna watu ambao wamejiweza. Mtu wako neighbor wake amejiweza na amejenga hapo, na watoto wanalala njaa kila wakati, hawaendi shule, wanapatiana shift za kulea watoto. So kuna mambo ambayo yanatendeka katika jamii yetu na sisi tumesonga nyuma kama jamii. Hatutaki ku take up initiative ama kusaidiana ili tuweze kukuzana. Hayo ni kati ya mambo ambayo tutazidi kuyazungumzia, na pengine mengine mengi yatajitokeza, na pia kujaribu kutafuta suluhu. Tunafaa kufanya nini kama jamii? Tulikosea wapi ambapo tunafaa kuingilia kati tuinuke kama jamii tufanye. Sisi kama watu wa serikali ambao wako hapa, jukumu lao ni lipi ili katika kusaidia na kuinua jamii? So kila mtu ana jukumu ya kuhakikisha kwamba mambo yamechukuliwa kwa jambo muhimu ili tuweze kukubaliana na kusaidiana kama jamii.
Leo hii nikikupeleka katika ofisi ya watoto hapa Nyanchwa, utapata wamama wachanga wako hapo, wanataka wazee ambao waliwajibika kuwazalisha wawajibike katika kulea hawa watoto. Nikikupeleka main office huko kwa DC ni hivyo hivyo. Jambo lingine, tunao madada zetu wengi sana ambao wengine wanabakwa na wanatiwa mimba. Huyu msichana ama huyu mama atalea aje huyu mnyama ambaye hakutaka kumleta katika ulimwengu huu? Na mengine ni haya, kuna wazee katika ndoa, vijana katika ndoa hawataki kuwajibika katika kuwalea watoto wao, wamewatelekeza, yani wamewatupa. It's like they want to be forced to take care of their kids. When I took my son the other day to get an ID card, the first thing they do is they take their fingerprints. I have not heard from the National Bureau that after they have done their search, the individuals who have been indicated to have lost their lives cannot be traced to where they have come from through the fingerprints. I should have expected that these bodies, thorough investigations must have been done before what we saw. Otherwise, it communicates to what Alhaji said about laziness, about people who don't care. In fact, the issue of Utu now comes in. Have they investigated thoroughly to understand where these individuals came from? Because they have said they are adult individuals, yes. We have done our searches, lakini hatuwaoni popote, hawajatuambia hivyo. So it means our forensics, ama wale watu wenye wanataka kufanya hiyo, they don't care. So it communicates directly to what you have raised. Are we human?
I don't want to defend the county, but for me, we are not enjoying the services. You can even go to the main stage there. You will see pathetic things. You can go even to these offices. The services are not as we expect. Maybe they are improving, but to me, I can't say that they are fine or they are to standard.
The big question is, these services that we want to enjoy, do we have enough resources allocated to the provision of those services? Harmful practices, harmful traditional practices. Does it rob us the heart of Hutu?
Kwa upande wa kuna FGM ambayo iko hapa Kisii, lakini siku hizi sijui kama inafanyika, na kama wanaifanya kwa siri sana, sio kama kitambo. Na kwa saizi unajua inaharibu, inasumbua watoto sana. Ukisha grow inaenda inafanya nini? Inakusumbua wakati wa kuzaa, inasumbua.
We have about 13 laws in this country prohibiting FGM. the Children Act of 2001, and if I can mention all those, including and the FGM board that is funded by the government, a whole board with the secretariat in Nairobi, because this is a national menace.
All of us are guilty as a society, as institutions, CSOs, as NGOs, as government, as office bearers, duty bearers, all of us individuals, as religious institutions, be it Muslim, Christians, and so on, all of us are guilty. Because even if you looked at it from a Christian perspective, there is no record of a lady being circumcised in the Bible. I doubt whether there is a record in the Quran. There isn't. So where did Christians and Muslims pick this practice from? My own nieces were circumcised and incubated in my mother's house. I only learned from my wife after like several days asking, Niliona, have you go around? But I just saw them for a day when they came visiting. Tiapana, si baramete, ani wako kwa shosho huko wamekatwa, so wako under incubation. So you know that is the time the activist in you tells you, do you tell the chief and call the police? And that is your mother. Do I keep quiet? And that is wrong, because the uraia in you tells you to do something. And the following day, naambiwa sasa kuna chakula hapa, kuja mule. Bana basokire. Ngosoka bale. So now washakatwa, wameoga, you are being called to a party. And you know the party is wrong. And then even if you call the chief, now washakatwa, now wametoka, and no one is complaining. In Kisii, we are even talking about medicalization, that now professionals, some of them earning from taxpayers, employed in government facilities, earning from government, practicing FGM, even within their clinics, within homes, homesteads, and so on. We realized our parents, our mothers are now hiding our girls in counties where there is no FGM. So a Kisii girl hidden in Kakamega and being circumcised will pass without notice, even from police and so on, because it doesn't happen there. It doesn't happen there. So no one will raise an alarm. No one will raise an alarm in Kakamega because it doesn't happen there. So even if you saw girls, 5 girls in a place, you will not suspect anything because it doesn't happen. It will go without notice. Beyond there then, we now export to jurisdictions without law prohibiting circumcision, FGM. If there is no law in Tanzania prohibiting FGM, then Kisiis are now clever, more clever than government and law enforcers, to export girls to those jurisdictions without law prohibiting. If you are found cutting a girl in Tanzania, there is no law stopping you from doing it. Therefore, you are not breaking any law. So we are now either exporting to areas without legal jurisdictions without prohibiting laws, or exporting to areas where there is no FGM, so that then it doesn't raise an alarm. Because in Kisii, if you see 2 10-year, 8-year-old girls in a room for 1 week continuous, then someone will suspect, why are these girls not coming out openly, and why are they hidden? When you lack utu in a society and you see orphans suffering and do nothing, and they take 10,000 to a church as sadaka and leave orphans without food, take 100,000 to a mosque or to build a church, a beautiful church worth millions, and there are orphans in your neighborhood going without clothing and food, going without schooling, going without a blanket, and wanachapwa baridi usiku. What you are giving to the world is a nasty adult later, because it is implanted in the subconscious. It is not their liking that they become bad people. it is there implanted in the subconscious that I suffered. It is now my opportunity. I'm an adult. That is why when you see street children, wanachukua bag ya mwanamke na kipata ni shilingi 500 iko hapo, anatupa hiyo bag hata kwa kichaka ama kwa choo. They don't care that their IDs, their documents, their ATMs in that bag, which are more important than the 500 shillings. That 17-year-old street child is revenging because you are a lady. Where were you when I was suffering? Nalala kwa mtaro. Nalala without food. So they are revenging.
Is there utu in FGM? Kuna utu kwa FGM? Madam Officer, briefly, you will help us also understand this practice of FGM and probably the challenges that you face when you want to ensure that the law is followed.
What I will say, in Kakamega, ladies are not done FGM. There are boys now wanafanya na kimira yao ile ya Western. But according to Kisii, I think many families are educated. Like I can say myself, I have girls, one 30 years, another one 27. I did not take them to circumcision. So, where there is primitivity is where you get it, that one that the count amesema wanapeleka kufija. If you are a parent, unapeleka mtoto wako anakaa Tanzania, utajuaje anaenda kudhulumiwa ama anafanyiwa nini? If you love your child, you cannot accept awe FGM aende kuwa circumcised. So, ile kitu nasema ni family inajangia. If you love your kids, protect them. They are your account. Watoto ni investing yako. Ni account yako ile iko pesa nono. If you love your child, never accept your child aende ku circumcisiwa mahali. Hata kama ni kwa grandmother, I can say, mimi watoto wangu tunaenda na hawa kwetu na hawa na tunarudi. Hawaja ika huko. Hata wanaweza kuambia kwa kina mama tunajua ni huko, lakini hawaja ienda kustay huko. So we parents to protect our kids. They allow investing. Hakuna account nyingine huko naye sahi. Mtoto yako ndio mali ile huko naye. Ile unataka uchunge kabisa na ndio right yako. If you leave your child aende kuishi kulia huko, aende kuishi Tanzania, anatailiwa. Si anaweza pata maneno mengine mingi na haribike. Hajasoma hajakusaidia. So ile kitu mimi nina sense the community, niliona Western wanapenda kuchunga watoto lakini naye wasichana wanaharibika mapema. Wengi na ndio naona NGOs like World Vision siko huko. Tuko na Paralegals, like iko Aikea, siko mingi. Sina protect girl child. Boy child ndiye anakuwa left out, sijui nani atamprotect. But tukiangalia kama Western, they protect a girl child. But nobody cares of a boy child, of which we as the gender based tunatosha to take care of a boy child and a girl child. Kwa sababu wote ni mali yetu. So, me, what I can request, if we can come together to pigania hii primitivity ya kupeleka mtoto, unapeleka mtoto Tanzania na anaenda kuharibiwa, na unajua mtoto akijua ame close from this age to that age, ndio unakuta mtoto anaanza maneno mapema. But if you care your child na anajua unampenda na huwezi kumkubalia afanye hivi, atakuwa na discipline, atasoma na atamaliza na utaenjoy matunda yako. Otherwise, wacha tusaidiane to take care of a boy child and a girl child in our communities. Yes. Hiyo ndio mali, hatuna shamba sahihi. Your child is your property.
On the issue of FGM, I think a lot of the health providers ni venye serikali unajua imewatupilia mbali. Sasa ukiangalia the interns, they are without pay. Some for 6 months and some for 2 months. In the past, I think it was May, the doctors came out and went on strike because kuna some wame spent almost 8 years in universities, wamefanya internship for 1 year, alafu wakikuja hapa nje hawana kazi, and yet wako na skills. So unapata ameingia mashinani, ameambiwa there is a case here, ukifanya hivi kuna pesa. Sasa akiangalia vile amesumbuka, anaichukua haraka haraka. So it's an issue also on the government because kuna watu wako na skills and are unemployed.
The issue of FGM, it is not an issue that is ending today. It is not an issue that is ending tomorrow or anytime soon. Looking back from the years, we can say we've made a milestone. We are not where we were. At least right now we have people who are fighting against this FGM thing. We have even men who have stood with fighting against FGM. Even in the areas like Samburu, we have seen people fighting against FGM. We are not where we want to be, but we are on our journey there. And we are going to achieve this by just let us continue sensitizing people against the harmful practices. These are harmful. Looking at the advantages and the disadvantages, they outdo the advantages. My brother here, the doctor said that they do it because of money. And I had a friend, she's a learned one. She took her girls, akaweka kwa gari yake, she drove them to a private hospital. Wakakuwa circumcised, and she drove them back to her house. When we tried to talk to her, to ask her why she did so, she said, my girls are going to be discriminated from other girls in the community. People will be like, this is the woman that never circumcised her girls. In Kisii, they call them ebisagane, like uncircumcised girls. Like you are not yet a woman, you know. When you've not undergone circumcision, you don't become a full woman. I think we need to do away with these harmful practices, and we need to, it is like preaching. It is like preaching to people. You don't expect, like today you give us the gospel and we receive it, and we change from our harmful ways. It is just slowly by slowly. So we continue with this gospel of anti-FGM, slowly by slowly, and we do away with harmful practices. You know, like there's this belief, like when you are not circumcised, you cannot become a leader, even in your society. So let us move. Let us accept change, and we move with the change. Like the ones that we are here, we have received the gospel. Let me call it the gospel. I will not circumcise my girl. If I was circumcised, I now know the effects. Let me pass this gospel to the next generation. And by slowly, maybe by 2060, we will be at maybe 50%.
Let's go back to why are we even calling it circumcision? Why can't we say it's mutilation so that they feel this is a bad thing? I have a niece of mine. While I was in college, her mother came to our place, and she told me, Judy, you know what? I want to take my girl for the mutilation. And I told her, no, that's wrong. And if you are going to do it, I'm going to report you. She pretended that she's not going to do it. They had a discussion with my mom. And even they agreed on where they are going to do that thing. Later, I discovered that the lady was mutilated. So I called my niece. I asked her how it went. Then she explained everything. They told her if she would try to tell anybody that she has been mutilated, they will remain orphans because the mother will be arrested, and she was worried. Now, if I go and speak out that this has happened to me. So we are going to remain without mother now that they don't have a father. She was scared. Tutakuwa mayatima sasa, tutaishi aje peke yetu. She never told anybody. And how it happened, they went to a certain grandmother. They called the doctor, and that's how she was cut. And she was threatened not to speak. So, as much as the government and these organizations may be vocal on that, I feel it's good we start educating the young girls. Like in Kisii, I'm very sure the mutilation starts at the age of maybe from class 2 to class 8. Why can't we go to the grassroots, to these schools, and talk to these ladies, these small girls, tell them the disadvantages of that, tell them the techniques in case they will see such advances, maybe where they can run to. Why can't we speak to the victims directly? You know, these ones that we are saying we are doing sensitizations, maybe we are doing it in the wrong way. We are doing it in the wrong group. Why can't we go to the Mtaani, to churches, then we speak to them one-on-one, not even through their parents. My sister knew the disadvantages of doing that. I even told her, this is wrong because of ABCD. And she was like, my mother was like, this lady, tusipomkata, atakuja kukua malaya. That's the perception. Why can't we start? Let's educate the mothers, but most importantly, the victims. Tuwaambie, ukiona wanataka kukukata, we toroka enda hata kanisa ambia pastor. Ukiona hizo vitisho wanakupeti, maybe utaachwa yatima nini, unawaambia mzazi wako hatashikwa, tutakuwa tumekusaidia.
Speaking on the role of the government towards ending FGM, I think it should not be just the government, it should be how can we do as a society, but our government, of course, has to take lead. First, I think we've had some initiatives by maybe the woman rep. We have alternative rites of passage. We have a program where girls are taking, I think for a week, taking through some sessions that, you know, the boys, they are being circumcised. Now, wanasema, since we cannot be circumcised, we need to have something like an event ya kutugraduatisha from being ebisagane now, the young girls, to now women. Now we have those sessions, even as NGOs we are doing that. We have sessions where girls are boarded for, they can even come on a daily basis, so they walk in, they leave in the evening, being trained on some issues, very important issues to do with girls, their bodily integrity, issues to do with GBV, giving them referrals. If this happens, what should you do? If somebody wants to take you through FGM, what can you do? Where to report to? How can you get assistance? And it should not be an issue of a personal issue. If it is not you, but a friend is at risk of being taken through FGM, what can you do? So it should be a multi-sectoral approach. The chief staff are saying that. See eti hawajui these things happen in those villages. Right now, unapata ni mother-in-law anapeana pressure. You can't live in this home now, watoto. If you want to stay in this home, watoto lazima wa undergo through. I remember at one given time, my mother-in-law telling me, of course I live in town. So I heard it from someone, watoto akiwaambia, next time when you come for December holidays, anawaambia how FGM is good. Good thing, I had already sensitized my girl on the disadvantages of, there is no advantage actually to FGM, there isn't. Kabisa, even when they argue that they will be sexually active than others, it does not happen. Does it mean wasichana wote wenye walikuwa circumcised hawana watoto kwao ama hawakuenda at one given time wakuwe malaya? So there isn't an advantage at all. So I'd already taken through those sessions. So I think the issue of FGM should even be streamlined in our school curriculum. So that by the end of the day, as the girls grow, they are taken through. So anajua na rights zake. As she grows, anajua nobody, even if it is my mother, hata nikichukuliwa by force, it should stop. So alternative rites of passage, ikuwe kwa syllabus, and then the perpetrators, wacha hiyo punishment. ikuwe heftier. Because if you look at Kisii County, with the sensitization, with the punitive punishments, but we are 78. Higher than the government even, that is according to KDHS. Imagine our prevalence is higher than, yes, it is at 78. It is higher than, hata in fact tumeshinda zile tulikuanga tunajua sasa they practice it more. So I think on my side that is do it. Ikue every and each person's responsibility towards ending that.
Tuko na sheria mzuri kabisa, our constitution 2010. Now shida ni enact those laws, when it comes to enacting those laws, because haya mambo yote tunaongelea hapa sio mambo mageni, ni mambo tunayajua. But sasa ukienda kupata mwenye anafanya hiyo mambo ni dada yangu, mama yako, ndugu yako, unapata sasa nifanye namna gani? Hapo sina jibu. Sisi sote vile tuko hapa tutoe hiyo jibu. Now, when it comes to female genital mutilation, unajua hapa Kisii ama Kenya tuko na myths and misconceptions ambayo zime misguide some of our parents, sisters and brothers. Mimi ninaonelea kwamba hizi laws zenye tuko nazo wacha zifanye kazi, na kila mtu awe watchman kwa mwingine back at the grassroots. I understand siku ya leo Kreko umefanya kazi mzuri kuja hapo, but ningependelea tuende mashinani mupate live story vile hiyo mambo inafanyika huko mashinani. Vile nao sisi wa baba tuseme niko na wasichana, si unapata msichana wangu ameenda na mama yake, wacha leo tuende kusalimia shosho. Mimi nakuja kawaida jioni, ninakula, nauliza watoto, si wamekaa sana, wamekaa wiki moja ama wamekaa siku mbili. Sasa mbona unauliza watoto kama wako na mama yake ama wako na shosho yake kuna shida? Si watoto wamefunga shule, wacha wakao hata wiki mbili. Little did I know that for example amefanyiwa hiyo cut. Sasa mtoto baadaye labda ndiye anakuja ananiambia, namuuliza mami mlikuaje? Tulienda kwa shosho, ilikuwa vizuri, tumetembea, lakini dadi unajua ni nini? Kuna daktari alikuja akanifanyia ile kitu. Sasa mzazi ndio unashangaa, alinifanyia ile kitu gani hiyo? Ndio unaita mama yake. Mtoto amenieleza hivi, amenieleza hivi, amenieleza hivi. Kwani kitu iko namna gani? Sasa yeye ndiye anataka kuni-educate, kwanza kuniambia unajua mtoto hatutaki mtoto akwe malaya ama akwe mang'aa. Lazima unajua katwe kidogo ndio, of which is not the case at these modern times. So mimi mwenyewe kila mtu ako na responsibility. Baba awe mama ako na responsibility kuhamasisha mtoto wake. Then tutoka hapo tuende kwa makanisani, tuende kwa tea buying centers, tuende hata schools. Tuwe na program watu wote waambie kwamba the dangers of doing that.
Zile njia ambazo tunazitumia ni njia ambazo zimekuwa zimezoeleka kila wakati. For example, kama hapa tumeanza kudiscuss, tumesema tu target community, tu target wa mama, hata wewe ulianza ukisema tuongee na ladies sababu ndio wanasafa. Mimi naona sababu tumetumia ladies sana na haijafanya tutumie wanaume sasa. Sababu ni gani? Sababu hao wasichana sisi ndio tutawaoa, si ndio? Ikiwezekana ama wakijua ya kwamba nikienda na mwanaume nijulikane na kwamba mimi nimetairi, sitaolewa na niko na hiyo hamu ya kutaka kuolewa at some point, itabidi nijikaze sana nisifanye nini? Nisitairishwe. So sio kushift but tuanze kusensitize watu wote. Iwe ni wasichana wadogo na pia wanaume. La pili, community ndio the biggest ally. Yaani hao ndio watu, unajua watu hawezi kuwa na nini moja. Na now being that the community ndio the biggest ally, sababu ukipata mimi nikitairisha msichana wangu, kuna uwezekano ndugu yangu atajua ama kuna mtu kwa familia atajua. Sababu nimesikia wengine tukisema hapa ya kwamba unajua ya mambo tunayafanya kisirisiri. Tuache kudanganyana, hapa ni Kisii tuko na tunajua. Hizo vitu hakuna kisirisiri, zinafanyika, lakini ni vile wana change jina wamesema ni medicalized. Yaani ni lakini inafanyika na tunajua it's being happening. So the biggest thing, I thank God you have come at the right time. Sensitization ifanywe. Hii sensitization ikifanyika, package ya information yake vizuri. Kama kuna ile yenye ilikuwa inapotosha kama hiyo misinformation na nini, iwekwe vizuri. Alafu na to target the right people. The right people ndio tumeongeza maboys wadogo. Na sister yangu pia alisema ikuwe hata curriculum kwa shule ijulikane ya kwamba hii ni kitu wanafunzwa tu, ni kama vile mtu unaweza kuwa ukifunzwa Kiswahili ama Kizungu. Anajua mimi kutoka niko mdogo, sababu naamini ya kwamba watoto wakiwa wadogo, kama sasa hivi ningekuwa na mtoto mchanga ama niko na mtoto mdogo ako shule, akitoka shule akuje, kuna ile wanafanyanga homework nitaka kumfunza na nitaka kumwambia kitu, mwalimu wako mwambie unajua atakataa. Atasema mimi mwalimu wako tuambia hivyo, you know. So wametrust walimu sana kufanya nini kutuliko. So hii kitu ingeenda hata kwa walimu wakiwa kufunza hata hawa. Atagrow akijua mwili wangu ni msafi, vile nimegrow iko hivyo, ifai kuguzwa. Kuliko hata wazazi wenye mtazoeana na mzazi, ataona wewe ni dadi ananiambia ni jokes, but mwalimu akamwambia itakuwa ni kitu iko impact.
You will realize that we have very, very good laws. And as you have said, all these laws have been enacted. But if it comes to enforcement, that is where we have a problem. Bribery take place. Hata uki-inform the police, you inform the chief, you inform the nini, hata ikipeleka kotini, these people will always find their ways out. Because they are willing to do anything in order to escape that law. That is where we have a very big problem. I don't know whether I'm telling the need. You will agree with me that even these defilement cases, utapata zingine zinamalizwa hapa kwa kangaroo court, badala ya kupelekwa kwa law enforcement. So it becomes so difficult actually tutafanya nini. That is why our sister here said last time that we are going to wait until 2060, not because of that, because he knows that some people are unchangeable. You cannot imagine somebody, a graduate, anabeba watoto yake wote anapeleka huko. Why? Because anafeel to society wataenda kunichekelea. While watu wengine in other societies are very proud that they are watoto wao wako wazima. I'm happy within this small village, we started the sensitization way back 2021. But we succeeded. 100% hakuna FGM inaendelea. Why? Because we just tell people, this thing is outdated. It is not there. It is there according to the practices of the people, but then we have weighed the pros and cons. We realize that it is more harmful than beneficial. So people have decided to stop it completely. But if you go down there, people are ile stigma. Yeah, some people are being tortured psychologically. You are told, no, you are not a good woman. You cannot be married within the society. And this name sagane is another thing. Yeah? You don't feel that somebody to call you Ega Sagane. You see, you feel embarrassed. So that is one thing. And now you are asking that what can the government do? The government has done a lot. Laws have been enacted, but now it is enforcement. Let us try to think, how can we enforce that? Because these people, they know how to fight out. If they are caught with the law, they know how to get out of it. And this is Kenya. Everybody knows that. How can you address that issue? That is the question.
As a society, we normally have a challenge in doing what is right rather than what is popular. And that is what is killing us. Is what you are doing right? If the answer is yes, go right ahead and do it. Don't look at what do other people do. I normally do that. And I've earned myself so many enemies. I tend to do what is right, not what is popular. Number two, I want to address the issue of the National Anti-FGM Board. Those people are sleeping on their jobs. If the study shows that there is active FGM in Kisii, or in the Kisii region, as we call it, they should do mapping out. Where is this thing? Where is it more common? Where is it more popular? For example, it's around the Nubia area. Yeah? The National FGM Board should come up with officers like Madam here. kitengo fulani cha askari, kitengo fulani cha madaktari wenye wanakuja randomly to a school, they take the young girls. Kuna madaktari hapo wa mama, they inspect kwenye ni wapi, ni Nyanchwa, kwangu mzee kuja hapa, ni wewe mama kuja hapa. They do random. Unaona? Washike watu, wapeleke watu kotini, watu wafungwe, watu wapigwe fine, walipe. There's one thing I love about Tanzanians. Wanasaidia rais wao kutimiza majukumu ya uongozi. Lakini ukija Kenya, sisi ni wajuaji. Sisi ni wajuaji. We normally don't. In fact, sisi mara nyingi tunataka kupingana na serikali kwa kila kitu. Na in the long run haitusaidii. Sasa kama hii FGM bado inaendelea Kisii, mbona hatujaona watu wakiserve sentences in committee, in Kodiaga, in Kisii here? Kama inaendelea, hii ni kitu inakatwa, tunajua ni kriti inakatwa. Madaktari wako hapa watatuambia huyu amekatwa, ni mtoto ya nani? Leta mama yake hapa, chukua yeye cell. Baba yake mlete hapa. Practically, it will just work. If people are arrested, Alhaji, mtoto ni wako ametailiwa, alitailiwa namna gani? Mtu apeleke kotini. Wengine watatokeza wasema hapana, sio mimi ni huyu, sio mimi ni huyu, sio mimi ni huyu. And I will just solve this problem.
FGM does not just have the physical consequences or effects, as many of us believe, like the Kisii version of the cat may not necessarily be like the let's say the northeastern one, the Somali one. So in Kisii, they just say they break the clit, meaning that if you talk about the childbirth difficulty, then the supporters of the Kisii cat will say it doesn't have the effect of the childbirth difficulty. Then they will have jumped the hurdle, the hurdle in terms, the debate hurdle in terms of the physical effect. But mine is different. It is not just about the physical effect. And I'm not talking on behalf of women because I have never been a woman and I will never be one. But I want to imagine the psychological effect of the cat. If a girl from Kisii is admitted to Alliance Girls or Lugulu Girls in Western, where 50% of the girls will be Luya, who do not undergo the cut, or in Central, or somewhere there, where they do not cut. The psychological effect for me is, it could be so big that it even affects other areas of the girl's life, including academics. So as a mother, as a father, as a parent, if you wish your daughter well academically, then why are you exposing her? Unless then you plan in a manner that she will just go to school in your village, primary, secondary, college, and probably get employed in the same village, where she will only associate with fellow Kisiis who undergo the cut. But if you have a dream of a situation where your daughter could be somewhere in a society that doesn't circumcise, and she would be among the 1-2% of the circumcised girls or women, or she could be married to a man whose society does not circumcise, then you need to think twice before you circumcise your daughter or your girls. For me, the psychological effect is more serious for me than the physical, because the physical, the scar would heal, but the psychological scar may not heal. It could take forever. It is true, there are enough laws in this country. There are enough legal structures, there are enough legal instruments, there are enough structures, government structures. There is more than enough sensitization True. There is enough sensitization. You cannot say, my friend, that we go mashinani. There is no mashinani that does not know that there is a law against FGM. Then why are they being hidden if they don't know there is a law? Why are they being exported to jurisdictions without legal barriers? People know that there is law. People know that whatever they are doing is wrong. In fact, in Kisii, there is talk among women that I'm cutting my daughter, wasimuroge, sababu asipokuwa cut, watamuroga wasingizie, ni kwa sababu hakutairi, si ndio? So usipolisha community, even your boy, your son, wacha niwapikie, wawachane na mtoto wangu, si ndio? That is the talk, that is the cultural life talk. Wasiroge mtoto wangu. So there are laws. Police officers wako hapa. Hata atakaa hapo na traffic kwa barabara, kwa hiyo shamba amesimama na roadblock, kuna msichana anatairiwa hapo. Atajuaje, atafanya nini if there is no report? So for me, the structures are there, the laws are there, but I'm a social scientist, by the way. We need to get social solutions, socio-cultural solutions to the socio-cultural problems. If we use the Lego mechanic approaches, we will not get it. So how do we attack the culture? To the extent that now, if Council of Governors, Council of Elders are telling us they are leading the community, what is their position about these cultural practices? Tunacheza boli na wanawake na wasichana pekee. We are not passing the ball to the male part of FGM. Male part is the father, the role of the father in FGM. Nikikataa wasichana wangu wasitairi na mama anataka watairi, there is something I will do. The boy child. If I convince my class 7 son that never marry a circumcised lady when you grow up, she will start the debate from primary, from classmates, that ukitairi mimi sitakuoa. Can we engage now the boy child right from primary? Because we are engaging the girl child and telling them not to be cut. Then they are waylaid by their mothers and grandmothers and the cultural dominance to be cut. And they are told, never report, because if you report, you are a child of a single mother, as someone spoke. If you report, you will remain an orphan because your mother will go to jail. This daughter will not report because she cannot risk being an orphan. That is obvious. Even if you are stupid, you will not report. Now, let us pass the ball to the boy child.
About government position in terms of service delivery, about what is happening currently in society. You know, let's stop looking at government as being a very new thing. Government is with us. We are government. Government is formed by the people who vote. Those people who are given a responsibility. It's a favor, they are given a responsibility. But government is made up of the people. And by the spirit of the Constitution that we have currently, government is the people. So most of these people who have a responsibility in government come from families. We come from society. And before we got to these positions, or before the people in offices got these positions, there were people there previously. They left for the current ones to come in place. The current ones will go in order to pave way for the next lot to come in. Government has constraints. Government has expectations. Of good concern, we should just evaluate to get to know if at all government and respective officers are able to do or contribute positively or in a direction people desire. There is nothing that can be done once and achieved fully, but of concern to everybody else should be, is the right thing being done, so that cumulatively it will bring the result or the effect that is desired. My friend here mentioned something about negligence from the officers. Most of these officers were brought up also from this society. So the society itself has a problem on how they raised these people who are now their officers serving them. So as a society, we should also change on how we raise kids, the societal norms, we should realign them to what we want. When we're talking about service delivery, if I get an emergency right now, the available services around the world that will help me, the police, the hospitals. So I also want the best in them. The stage, you see, somebody mentioned about the stage that is in very pathetic situation. You see now, what can we be able to do, or what have we been able to do, and what can't we do? What is required is a renovation. That renovation requires money. Do we have that money in the budget? We don't. And there is a scale to which we use to apportion money to important issues. We first start with the people who are working in these offices. Then we come to the welfare, which comes effects of health. Do we have drugs in hospitals? Do we have competent people? Do we have enough facilities? Before we even make the stage. From that stage in itself, how much money are we able to generate from that place in order to... You see now, a hall like this one is more in my department, because even public participation can be done from this end, civic education can be done from this end. How much money do I have in terms of the budget available that I can apportion to even do painting for this? You know, those are among the things that we try to consider. So even in mortuaries, when we receive people there, a mortuary cannot just be full. There are reasons as to why it can be full. You see, let's not focus on one angle. Let's be a bit broad. Somebody can, at one point in time, people never used to take bodies to the public morgue that we have in Kisii. They used not to take there. But currently, everybody wants to take there. Everybody wants to take there. Why? It's because we've improved the service, and you'll get the best of the service there. Because even when the body, the recording, the documentation, the hygiene, the treatment of the cadavers, all those things have really, really been improved. But this was not done in 1 year. This was done from the previous administration, and we are on ensuring that we keep on enhancing the services in that area. So as a society, let's stop looking government of what we expect. Government has objective. Objective is set by the society. And when these objectives are done, what we should ask ourselves, are we working in the correct direction? Now, Utu comes in of what are we? What is in the society today? What is the best that could have been? What can we do to get to the right position that we desire to be in? The qualifying indicator there is that, are we working towards what we desire? It's not about have we achieved. Achieving, you cannot achieve overnight. We cannot get everything else overnight. But are we working? Because there are constraints and there are limiting factors. Right now, I'm sorry for those people who have come to government and they are not able to get the proper services. We are putting up a complaints and follow-up mechanism, whereby if you've come up with a query in government and it has not been addressed, we are working on that. But you see now, there are laws that must guide you in setting up every other legislation or policy. There are laws. You may want to do a very noble thing, but there is a law. You want to even go do a very, very good thing. You want to go set up something that can even impact positively. But there is a law limiting or a law guiding. And it's not a thing you will do in a day. Of concern, we should ask ourselves, we want good service delivery. Is our money put into good and proper utilization? As a society, are we teaching our people to reduce the appetite that we have all in terms of trying to make something more for ourselves, which is currently corruption? Are we escalating this even to our family? You know, corruption is not about a deal in the offices. Corruption starts from home. Of course, corruption starts from home. Cindy? Yes. If right now, an officer, I am seeing my officers here, around 3, 4 of them. If right now an officer finds one is doing well, another one is not doing well, irrespective of what they are doing, one is in revenue, is making more money. Another one is in the office, is doing his clean work. People will think the one who's doing his clean work is not smart enough. Even your wife in the house will start looking at you with second thought. It starts from home, isn't it? Let's be contented. Let's have a society. Let's have norms that will guide ourselves. Yeah, you know, the way we live is how we bring up our kids. Even the kind of talk we have in the house, our kids listen. You know, I have young kids, and just sorry, I talk umbrellally, so I have a few things as I go. I have kids in the house, and I didn't realize they have started reasoning. Yeah? You see, they are kids. Once I give an order, they must follow. But I didn't realize they are following. So I can get a call, and I can give instructions from the call and everything else. Sometimes I can shout. You know, one day I heard them shouting and trying to talk like me. Yeah? They want to imitate how I talk. Eh? Yeah? Yeah? One was telling the younger sister, "Una akili wewe. Get out of my face." Then I was like, "Ameongea nini?" Then the mother told me, "I think she's always trying to talk like you." So I was like, okay. And many other things that I was able to observe. So indeed, what I'm trying to communicate is that it starts from us. It's not a war, even, you call it Creco. Creco, what you're starting today will be easy to start in a way. But once you've started, it will be very hard to communicate until enough people get it. But after you go some point, you'll get new challenges. You'll reshape. You'll get to a point whereby you want to stop, you want to give up. And that period of you wanting to stop, want to give up, will be longer. And now, there's a time you'll achieve your objectives of having Utu in society, of having a society that you are envisaging to achieve. That one, when it will come to the end, you will forget all the pain you went through, all the many sittings you had through, but you'll have more people who are speaking to your beliefs and objectives in society. So one thing I want to say is, let's always not cast fingers. Let's ask ourselves the noble question, which will solve more problem? This is a problem. Let's not say this is a problem, we've not achieved. The best question is, are we doing the right thing to solve the current problem and the future problem? Are we communicating properly what the current problem is, the future problem is? Are we doing the right thing in the right direction, cumulatively?